Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Earthen's Den, and happy Tuesday. I am here having some tacos for lunch, and I just kind of wanted to get on here and talk to you guys about what to do when you need to push forward or you're not really sure how to push forward. And one of the things that I am realizing with a lot of people, and this is probably one of the major hindrances in regards to your evolution, is people are very seldomly willing to adopt a different mindset. Very seldomly are people willing to change their perspective and adopt a new principle and apply that. You know what I mean? What I'm finding with a lot of people is they're very set in their thinking. And I think that this is probably one of the things that really hinders a lot of people in their growth within their business or whatever it is that they're after. Because once you're kind of set in your thought process, then that's probably the biggest reason why you're not moving forward with certain things. And what I'm finding with a lot of people and what I've heard and what I've experienced is that sometimes when we're trying something, it's okay to try it in a different way. It's okay to adopt a new plan. And now understand you have to be discerning, right? We get it. The Henry Ford, he was very slow to make a decision. I understand that. But overall, this goes back to having an end goal, right? But this is also being adaptable in regards to the game plan. Once you're trying something for so long, right, and you determine how long that is that you've been trying that in which you're trying, and it's not working, there is nothing wrong with going back to the drawing board. There is nothing wrong with saying, okay, what are some of our limited beliefs around this? Why are we unwilling to change this methodology? Why are we unwilling to adapt a new, brand or whatever it is that we're doing? Why don't I want to try something new? I think when you step into that space and start to address those limiting beliefs, that can definitely help you move forward. You can also step back and say, okay, what do I need to improve? Am I really giving this the best that I'm giving this? Am I really going after that in which I desire, that in which I'm after, with 110? Am I giving it my all? And then you have to assess as well, what is in my control and what is out of my control? Right? What is in my control? What are some things that I can control today? What are some things that I can do, to be better? What are some new habits that I can implement? And then you start to get busy doing that. And then I think another thing too is to really, on your journey, really discipline yourself to be patient and in control. You know what I mean? Manage what it is that you're saying to yourself. Manage the thoughts that you're creating. Whenever you're starting to feel discouraged, I think it is so important to just start talking about a whole bunch of stuff that is, in front of you, in regards to your desires, your manifestations, talking about how you want to feel, the person you want to become. Just start talking, and honestly, you're going to be surprised. Your brain is going to get it, and then things are just going to shift for you. I think another thing too is, I love when, I think it's Jim Quick, he talks about how when the body moves, the mind grooves. That is something I really believe in. And so I'm really big on just getting active, even if it's just walking around. I tell you guys how I'm always in the parks, even when it's cold outside, because it's just a new habit that I've adopted, and that's just my thing, right? And so I think it's so important to also, get active and kind of try to get out of the space in which you're in. I know if you have a messy room, or, if you're somewhere where it's kind of congested, that can definitely be a determinant factor in just kind of how you're feeling and your mood and all those things. So it's just so important to really start to assess and take inventory of the things that are kind of enabling you. What are these inhibitions? What is something that I can change today? And first and foremost, it's always your mentality. It's always your thoughts. You'd be surprised, man. Just change your perspective, and your entire outlook on the whole situation changes. You start to feel better. I tell you guys that all the time, how I was sitting and I was like, okay, people feel this way or this and that, right? Because sometimes we can all be a little self-conscious. And then I shift and I'm like, maybe they don't feel that way. Maybe, you know what I mean? And then it's just the little things like that. And then you start to feel so much better. And then it's also letting go of what you cannot control. There are just some things that are out of your control. And me personally, I much rather focus on the things that I can control, the things that I can fix. How can I be better, in regards to certain areas, rather than sitting here dwelling on some things that I just genuinely cannot control. That makes me feel like crap. If I'm being honest, that's not something that makes me feel confident in my abilities and confident within myself. Another thing that I kind of wanted to address with you guys is the importance of being confident in your work. I know that, people talk about being humble and all these things. And I think that humbleness is more so seen as kind of like this little meager, not meager, meekness. And I think that's something that's it's relevant. It's definitely relevant. But most importantly, understand that confidence is within yourself, and confidence is definitely something that is very quiet, right? Insecurity is loud. And so I think when we kind of enter into spaces where we don't really want to go after something and, we don't want to say what it is that we really want because we're quote unquote telling ourselves that we're being humble, we are really doing ourselves a disservice. If you look at the definition of somebody who's humble, it's more so just not viewing yourself with such self-importance. And I'm gonna just leave that there. But here's one thing I will honestly say. It's about how you treat other people. It's about the things that you say. It's about the way that you move in your everyday life. I think that that's just kind of my little definition of it. And so I think that overall that ideology is what's really hindering people because you don't feel worthy. You don't feel deserving. And I was telling you guys how even though, you're healing and you are aware that you have some issues, okay? You may be aware that today you got some issues. You may be, very self-aware in your past mistakes and all of those things. But you guys, it's so important that you don't dwell there. And let me tell you why. Because if you dwell there, you're never going to be able to push forward because you're going to constantly be feeling like something's wrong with you. You're going to constantly be feeling as though you can't get out of that rut. You're going to be constantly dwelling on what went wrong, how you can fix it, and you're not going to be able to push forward. So definitely be self-aware and know, okay, what are the things that are wrong with me? What are some of the things that may trigger me at certain times, right? But at the end of the day, knowing that, okay, it happened, it's over, I'm healed, I'm better, right? And move forward with your life. Don't stay in the past. I think that's just something that we sometimes do. And so it's so important to be confident in your abilities to move forward. Now, I can honestly say sometimes, things you get a little shaky. Your faith may be a little weary moving forward towards your goals because this journey is just like, oh my God, it's like literally a roller coaster and you really never know when the bend's coming. And so it can be a little tricky, but at the end of the day, you're going to arrive. And I think that honestly, for me, I tell you guys, when I was in college, these were decisions that I made and these were commitments that I made to myself. And so when you make a commitment to yourself, first and foremost, you have to know that your brain is going to really hold on to that. When you make up a decision in your mind and I'm serious, you're really serious about it, your brain's going to be like, okay, this is what we're doing. This is how we're going to move forward. And honestly, it's going to kind of start to dictate your actions and everything moving forward. And I tell people all the time, you don't really have a vision for your life and for yourself. You carry yourself so loosely. You're just not as maybe disciplined as you want to be. Things just really start to change for you. So when I wrote out my goals, I'll give you guys an example. When I wrote out my goals, shortly after I made a commitment that I was going to die empty, right? I'm telling you guys, I was so immersed in Les Brown and all these speakers when I first started out. But I told myself that, okay, I am going to die empty. I want to be successful. I want to inspire people. And I made that commitment. And then things started to shift. Not only did I start to incorporate different habits, but I also made a deliberate choice in regards to my eating habits. I eat very healthy. Okay, because sometimes I do have, me a piece of fried whitening every now and then. So let me not, I eat relatively healthy. I stop eating meat. I stop, so it's the thing is, you guys, the point that I'm making is that when you really make a commitment to yourself, it is something that's really going to be. And so, on the journey, it can be tough. You're going to have ins and outs. And I think sometimes I would always get so afraid to speak about certain things just because I've always been a person who's just so conservative, and then I'm like, how are people going to feel so many people are maybe in this arena, are they going to be able to feel my passion? Are they going to really feel me? And so I was really struggling with that. But when I step back and, you realize that you're not the only person, you're literally not the only person going through whatever it is that you're going through. Now I look at my problems and I am thankful for my problems. I'm like, okay, cool. I'd rather have this set than the set that I had last year or the set that, you know what I mean? And you just have to move forward. You literally just have to move forward. And so I say that to say, make a commitment to something. Commit to something. To me, it was committing to myself. Okay. I tell you guys all the time, I tried so many different things. I'm starting to, coming around the roundabout up here, on my birthday and everything. I'm like, okay, I think we're getting a little closer to what it's going to be. And, but, enjoy the ride, and don't be afraid to take chances and be confident in yourself. And I think the main thing that honestly really propels me is I'm really confident in my art. I'm really confident in my capabilities. I'm not always confident in my journey. I have to say, I'm not always confident in my journey, because it seems like it's, it may be taking longer than I expected. And I've been faced with so many detours, you know what I mean? And that's never ending, right? But I'm getting better, right? I'm getting better at navigating. I'm getting better at pushing through. Okay. So you got to kind of look at things like that and say, hey, what am I doing right? Because sometimes that's all you can do. Right? Sometimes that's all you can do is say, okay, what am I doing right? And then go from there and keep doing that. And, they say it's important to reward yourself for your good behavior as well, because that, trains your mind to then continuously do better. I don't really know if that's how that works, but that's something that I, just kind of started implementing, and it seems to, be working thus far. I think a lot of this stuff is placebo effect. That's just the thing about the mind, man. It's like, you just give it a task and then just watch it work. It's great. And so, you got to push forward. You got to get out of the rut, because what's going to happen, and I think about why I was depressed and why I went through everything that I went through. Yes, it was for my advantage. Yes, it was my cultivation. It was the price I had to pay. I get all of that. I really do. But I think the main reason was honestly because I let it get so out of control. I let my thoughts, I had no control over any of it. And it got to a point where I just felt like I was a prisoner in my own mind. Seriously, it was like I just, after one bad thought was another and another and another. And what happens is when you get so far, you're like in an abyss in your mind. You know what I mean? And so don't get there. Take it from the survivor of depression and all of those, really negative emotions. I'm telling you, man, you really, seriously, listen to me very clearly. Don't go there. Don't even go there. Snap out of it. Pull yourself out of it and say, okay, hey, this is what I'm doing right. At least I did that today. I made the bed today. Sometimes it's literally stuff that's just that tiny. And, I tell you guys all the time management is definitely important. I do believe that time is an illusion. I agree with Albert Einstein in the essence of, when we go after certain things and, we are very vigilant in our pursuits and things like that, because when you look back, it's like, oh, wow, 3 years, that went by with no time. You know what I mean? So I think that's what I mean when I say that. But coming back over here and, the physical sense, I guess you could say, it's very relevant. And so, you can sleep a lot more peaceful when you know that you use your time very wisely for the day. And so, and that's just simply making decisions. It's really simple, you guys. It's just simply making decisions. So say, hey, maybe I'm not going to binge on this show today, but I'm actually going to, read this book or watch that or listen to this podcast, or, I'm actually going to paint today. I'm going to use my creative gifts, or I'm going to write that next chapter in my new book. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to be disciplined in that. And like I said, over everything, it's being confident in your abilities and being confident in your art. I think about, my monetary aspects and everything, and where I'm falling short and why I'm falling short. And it's nothing more than a lack of knowledge. You know what I mean? It's nothing more than a lack of wisdom in that specific area. So if you want to change it, you got to learn about it. You got to read about it. You got to research it. You know what I mean? You may not necessarily have to put the 10,000 hours in to be an expert if that's not what you want, but you got to start somewhere. You know what I mean? And so it's just so important to really rebuild after those hard times and understand that those times don't define you. And you got to know it's inevitable. It's life. But the beautiful thing about it is that when you go through things, get through it, push forward, literally you guys pushing through. And at this point, you're invincible. You're like the Hawk. You can totally run through any wall. Please don't do that. I don't think your physical body can, take all that, the stress. But what I'm saying is, you can totally do anything. And so you really start to build up your faith, and you build up your muscles in regards to hardships and tough times and setbacks and detours, and I think honestly start seeing things as an opportunity. I look for the opportunity in everything that it is that you do. That's what I do, and it works. And it's a journey. It's a journey. It's not a sprint. Right? It's not a sprint. It's a whole voyage. So, be patient with yourself. And I'm going to leave you guys with your thoughts. And please, whatever it is that you're going through, push through it. Let go of the past. Listen, when you hold on to your past, you're doing it at the expense of your destiny. So which one do you want? Right? You're here, you're present. What are the opportunities? Where can I improve? Where can I get better? Stop competing. You're not them. You're never going to be them. Okay? Stop comparing. You're great. We need you. What are the chances of you being here and alive today? Very slim. Very slim. A lot of people didn't make it this far. Okay? Be thankful now. Okay, you guys. I hope everybody has a great day.